So my name's Eric. I live in Hove. I've been here for quite a while. I was quite a heavy smoker. I smoked 40 a day, possibly more on the weekends if I was out. I started quite late. I started when I was about 25 when I first came to Brighton. I got a bit tired of smoking and tried to stop. So I went cold turkey once or twice, stopped, didn't work for about 6 months. And then I tried nicotine gum, and they had sprays which were really horrible, and I didn't like the taste of them. And that didn't work particularly. And then I tried the patches, which controlled my smoking and stopped me smoking cigarettes. And I would have the patches on all day, and then I have a couple of roll-ups in the evenings, and I felt that was okay and manageable. And then on weekends I'd take them off and I'd smoke like a chimney again, and I'd put them back on Monday, and it was a kind of all weekend. My partner's mother had been very ill. Ironically enough, she had chest cancer, but she'd never smoked. So we went through the whole process of chemo with her. Eventually she died. It was very traumatic for him and obviously for me. And it just made me think about what I was possibly heading towards if that was a non-smoking individual in quite a healthy life, what my end-up result might be if I didn't stop. And I used to think it made me feel very glamorous. You've got a cigarette in your hand, it gives you something to hold on to, and it's where you are. You're being witty, you're outside, you're at a party. And I remember thinking it when I was a younger gay man particularly, and I think for me, it was about those film stars and film staresses and, you know, the kind of the Bette Davises and the Hedy Lamours and the really glamorous women and men who always had cigarettes, and the cigarettes were their accessories. You had a cigarette holder, and I had a cigarette holder from Liberties up to my 30s. You know, the most pretentious load of rubbish in the world. And then I remember seeing Bette Davis on the television programme in the morning, and it was morning TV, and she was in her, she was about 85, 86. She'd had 3 strokes, possibly because of her smoking. She was still smoking with a cigarette holder. She was like a prune from her smoking, not just from her age, was coughing. And I had one of those kind of clarity epiphanies where I thought, that's going to be me. I'm going to look like her probably when I'm 50 rather than when I'm 80 if I don't stop. That's when I thought, actually, I want to stop. I've had enough of this. And realising that it wasn't that I couldn't stop, it was that I was addicted to the nicotine. Up until that point, I thought I had control of it, that I could stop it, that it would be easy to stop. And I tried 5 or 6 times to stop all the various things, but I'd always failed, and I thought I was weak. So I worked for the local authority, and they were doing free smoking cessation courses as part of lots of health stuff to do with being slightly older, and I just passed 40. It was free. It was a 16-week course. And I met with her, and we went through the various options, and I tried most of them, and some group stuff. And I'd been very averse to the group stuff, because I felt very dismissive of the kind of idea that I could possibly gain from it. But she made it very clear that if I was to do any kind of smoking session, then I should have peer support, and I would have to attend the group. The first group I went to, I hated it. It was full of, you know, people who smoked much more than I did. There was a guy there who was in his 80s who had an oxygen cylinder and still wanted to smoke, and it just felt hopeless and mad. And as we went through the process of withdrawal and stopping, of course everyone in the group had different goals and different achievements, and by the end of it I think about 70% of the people had stopped, at least for that moment on it. And I was really impressed that I'd met people and talked to people and shared experiences of how they had stopped themselves. I found it really useful to be in the group. So I did the Champix pills, which stopped me completely in 3 months and stopped my desires, which was really good. And since then, it's 5 years. I had my last cigarette on November the 5th because I wanted to be able to remember. Since then, my gym's improved, my lung capacity's improved, so I'm much healthier than I was in a very physical way. I feel a lot mentally healthier, a lot clearer. I'm less impatient than I was, and I think it's made me much calmer. I don't feel the constant anxiety that smoking made me feel. I feel more alert and awake. And I've got just more capacity to do stuff. I don't miss the smoking at all. I really thought I would, particularly the outside pubs and bars and parties thing, but I don't. And it's left my home feeling nicer. It's much cleaner. It doesn't smell anymore. I really notice smokers now when I'm around them, and I used to smell like that. And I like the way that my food tastes better. You know, all the kind of things you hear about that you don't think are going to apply to you, but actually for me they did. It was a difficult journey for me to stop. But with the smoking cessation and the group work, it worked, and it's what I needed. And ironically enough, I needed to just submit to having some help rather than thinking I could do it myself. Yeah, it's good.